Kadamahyam dadati swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sadana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we will continue the fifth chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Now we are in Sloka number 4. Sankhya Yoga Pratak Bala Pravadanti na Panditaha Ekamapi Astitha Samyak Ubayor Vindate Phalam. Okay, this is only the ignorant speak of devotional service or karma yoga as being different from the analytical study of the material world, that is Sankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well into one of these paths achieves the result of both. Okay. So we had studied previously that the goal of any of the yoga systems is to get the purification of heart and the purification of the senses and to attain the transcendental knowledge. So here Prabhupada chooses to translate the karma yoga as devotional service. So means basically like all the activities are like dovetailed for the service of the Lord. So that kind of an activity is called devotional service. So here Karma Yoga, Prabhupada actually chooses to translate it as devotional service. So what anyway, so any of the yoga systems, if it is properly followed, the result is that we will get purification of heart and transcendental knowledge. So that's the result of the any yoga system to be followed properly. Okay, purport. The aim of the analytical study of material world is to find the soul of existence. The soul of the material world is Vishnu or the super soul. The devotional service to the Lord entails service to the super soul. So one process is to find the root of the tree, and another is to water the root. The real student of Sankhya philosophy finds the root for of the material world, that is Vishnu, and then in perfect knowledge engages himself in the service of the Lord. Right? Therefore, in essence, there is no difference between the two, because the of both is Vishnu. Those who do not know the ultimate end say that the purpose of Sankhya and Karma Yoga are not the same, but one who is learned knows the unifying aim in these different processes. Okay. Yat Sankhya hi prapyate sthanam tadyogarapi gamyate ekam sankyam cha yogam cha ya pashyati sapashyati. One who knows that the position reached by means of analytical study can also be attained by devotional service, and who therefore sees analytical study and devotional service to be on the same level, sees things as they are. So now he's saying, as it is mentioned in the previous sloka, that the goal of both is to attain Vishnu. And like if the goal is to attain Vishnu, so then it is both the processes is serving the same purpose. So if we see this kind of oneness in both the processes, then we see things as they are. Okay. Purport. The real purpose of philosophical research is to find the ultimate goal of life. Since ultimate goal of life is self-realization, there is no difference between the conclusions reached by two processes. By Sankhya philosophical research, one comes to conclusion that a living entity is not part and parcel of the material world, but of the supreme spirit whole. So by Sankhya philosophy, we understand this matter keeps changing, but then the soul doesn't change. So we did this analysis in the second chapter. So by that kind of Sankhya analysis, we come to the point that the soul is different from body, right? And the soul is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So this is something that we arrive at in Sankhya philosophy. Okay. Consequently, the spirit soul has nothing to do with the material world. His action must be in some relation with the Supreme. When he acts in Krishna consciousness, he is actually in his constitutional position. So when we act in Krishna consciousness, we are in our original position as the servant of the Lord. So, that's our constitutional position. So, in the first process, Sankhya, one has to become detached from matter, and in the devotional yoga process, one has to attach himself to the work of Krishna consciousness. Factually, both processes are the same, although superficially, one process appears to involve detachment, and another process appears to involve attachment. Detachment from matter and attachment to Krishna are one and the same. One who can see this sees things as they are. Okay, it's very clear. Text 6. Sanyasastu mahabaho dukkam aptum ayogatah yoga yukto munur brahma na chirena digachati. Merely renouncing all activities, yet not engaging in devotional service of Lord cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. So here Krishna is very nicely mentioning the sannyas in itself is not very special. No, merely renouncing activities and not engaging in devotional service is not at all. No, it cannot make us happy, because the happiness component comes from Krishna, and without Krishna, how can we be happy? It is not possible. Okay, so a person who is engaged in devotional service, he will get the supreme without delay. This is a very nice, this one. Yoga yukto munir brahma na chirenadi gachati. So yoga yukto, one who is engaged in devotional service, right? So Muni, such a person, like Brahma is the supreme, na chirena, na, like chiren means like with delay, no? Chirena means delay. Na chirena. Na chirena means like na chirena, and otherwise it is used as achirena. So that means without delay. Adhigachati means he attains that. So this is a very, very hope-giving statement. So if we are engaged in devotional service of the Lord, we will attain the Lord very, very fast. So there is other statements also are there in in Bhagavad Gita, which says that Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. Right? So Krishna mentions after many, many lifetimes, a jnani may attain me. Right? Vasudevam Sarvam Iti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. So to come to the point that Vasudeva is everything or Krishna is everything, and I must engage in devotional service, to come to that point, it may take many, many lifetimes. But then once we come to that state, yes, Krishna consciousness is all in all, and then I have to render devotional service to Krishna. Once we come to that point, then what happens? Yoga yukto munir brahma na chirena gachati. So we will get the ultimate destination very, very fast. That's the thing that is mentioned here. So it is very amazing, this one, that like devotional service, to come to the point of devotional service, it takes a lot. Somehow or other, by some good fortune, we have come to this platform of devotional service, that which a jnani attains after many, many lifetimes. So to come to this point. So for a jnani, it takes a lot of time, but for a simple person, he can just accept Krishna as Supreme Lord and he can start doing devotional service. So there is a problem being a jnani. So they will take a lot of time, lot of lifetimes to come to the point of surrendering to Krishna. Okay. Purport. There are two classes of sannyasis or persons in renounced order of life. The Mayavadi sannyasis are engaged in study of Sankhya philosophy, whereas the Vaishnava sannyasis are engaged in the study of Bhagavatam philosophy, which affords the proper commentary on Vedanta Sutras. The Mayavadi sannyasis also study the Vedanta Sutras, but use their own commentary called Shariraka Bhashya, written by Shankaracharya. The students of the Bhagavata school are engaged in devotional service of the Lord according to Pancharatriki regulations, and therefore the Vaishnava sannyasis have multiple engagements in transcendental service of the Lord. The Vaishnava sannyasis have nothing to do with material activities, and yet they perform various activities in their devotional service to the Lord. But the Mayavadi sannyasis engage in studies of Sankhya and Vedanta and speculation cannot relish the transcendental service of the Lord because their studies become very tedious. They sometimes become tired of Brahman speculation and thus they take shelter to Bhagavatam without proper understanding. Okay. Consequently, their study of Srimad Bhagavatam becomes troublesome. Okay, so this is a very important thing that is mentioned here. So here, Krishna is directly telling that no, the sannyas is not a very great thing, and rather than giving up the activities, generally, as we had discussed in the past, jnana yogis, so they generally take up sannyas for the matter of giving up all the activities, and they sit down in one place and they try to study and speculate on the subject matter of Brahman. Means they have to, by the study of Vedanta, they have to find the Brahman, they have to come to the point of Brahman realization, and they take a lot of trouble doing that, a lot of trouble trying to understand the Brahman. And no but the Vaishnava sannyasis, so Vaishnavas are also like, we have so many sannyasis. Even Srila Prabhupada himself was a sannyasi. So is Krishna criticizing that kind of a sannyas? No. Here it's mentioned that Vaishnava sannyasis, they are engaged in so much of activities. No, they study Srimad Bhagavatam, and which is a natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. So in that way, Vaishnava sannyasis are also studying Vedanta Sutra. And on top of it, they also engage in so many activities, devotional activities, which are meant for the pleasure of the Lord, especially preaching the message of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And then here we see that Pancharatriki system means the deity worship system. So we have no Vaishnava sannyasis engaged in maintaining the temple, maintaining the deity worship and things like that. So that's a lot of work. And a Mayavadi sannyasi would say, like, no, why are you doing so much of work? No, sit down and study the Vedanta. So, but then the Vaishnava sannyasis, they're busy engaged in so much of service of the Lord. And they derive so much of pleasure because that is our ultimate position, to be a servant of the Lord. So, but according to the Mayavadi sannyasis, so they are not meant to be servants of the Lord. They have to become God. And what does God do? God does nothing. That's their idea. And God does nothing. And they try to, be like that because their conception of God is a Brahman. And then that Brahman does nothing. And it doesn't have any qualities. It doesn't have any attributes. And they're trying to become like that Nirvisesh, Nirakar, no Brahman. And, it's very, very boring for them. And they sometimes take shelter of Bhagavatam without proper understanding, without proper guidance. And their study of Bhagavatam is also troublesome because they are trying to find, Bhagavatam is a very, very personal scripture where the personality of Godhead is described in such wonderful ways. Again and again and again, we will see the descriptions of the bodily features of the Lord, how sweet He is, how wonderful He is, how beautiful He is, how opulent He is, and things like that. And after reading this, they have to bring the conclusion of Brahman. They have to bring the conclusion of everything is without any variety. It's very, very tedious job. Their study of Bhagavatam also becomes troublesome. Right? So dry speculations and impersonal interpretations by artificial means are all useless for the Mayavadi sannyasis. The Vaishnava sannyasis who are engaged in devotional service are happy in discharge of their transcendental duties, and they have the guarantee of ultimate entrance into the kingdom of God. The Mayavadi sannyasis sometimes fall down from the path of self-realization and again enter into the material activities of philanthropic and altruistic nature, which are nothing but material engagements. So I always used to say that, once I had gone to one of the Mayavadi sannyasis mutt, and here in Karnataka, and then that sannyasi, like, he had a temple, and then he just went inside, no pranams, no folding hands and things like that, as if he's just going and seeing some animals in the zoo. He was just going and gazing at different altars, and no offering of any pranams. And the meaning is, like, if he has taken sannyas, then that means he's equal to God. So he's just, as a formality, he's just going to take darshan of some vigrahas which are there in the temple. So no, that's their idea. They have already become God. Sannyasi means he's already become God. So that's their idea. And for them, everything is dry in their life. So they cannot. Krishna is telling, Man mana bhavamat bhakto madhya ajimam namaskuru. Become my devotee, offer obeisances unto me. This very simple things which Lord Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, this Mayavadi sannyasis will not do. Why? Because they think they are God. So whom will I offer obeisances to? No, will I offer obeisances to myself? So he thinks that no, all the deities which are present in the temple is non-different from me, and they don't offer any obeisances. They don't do any devotional service, and rather doing devotional service, they get into philanthropic activity. They get into samaj seva and things like that. So that's a very very great level of fall down from his position. No, he was in the Brahman platform, or at least he wanted to attain Brahman platform. He ended up serving all the people who are caught up in the material nature and solving the problems which are there in the material nature. So what's the point? So all their advancement is gone. So that's a very important this one, that Mayavadi sannyasis, they, instead of engaging in Krishna's service, they don't recognize Krishna only. So they think that they themselves are God, and instead of engaging in Krishna's service, they go and engage in samaj seva, and they philanthropic and altruistic services, and that's actually like a degraded situation. So then somebody may ask, okay, samaj seva is degraded. Yes, samaj seva is degraded. Why samaj seva is degraded? Because I always give this example, that if somebody comes to our home and say that no, you have your family members and things like that, I understand you are the head of the family, but I would like to take care of your family. We'll say, like, who are you? Get lost from here. No, I know how to take care of my family, right? So this is the aspect of samaj seva. Krishna is there. Krishna is like telling that no, what is it? He's maintaining all the living entities. And these people, these Mayavadis, they will not serve Krishna. They will not even ask Krishna how to serve and things like that. They will simply go and want to take care of Krishna's property. All these people in this world, they don't even know why these people are suffering. These people are suffering because of sinful activities, and they don't even know what sins they have committed. And simply they just want to go and do some samaj seva. And what is that they are doing in the name of samaj seva? Just trying to make sure that these people they're continuing their sinful life, and they will fall further. No, so the solution for all problems is one has to surrender to Krishna, and that they will not teach. They will again deviate from that point. So Vaishnavas also do samaj seva. What kind of samaj seva they do? They do that, like, they are servants of Krishna, and they check with Krishna, like, no, all these living entities are your part and parcels. How should all these people be taken care of? And Krishna says, okay, no. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita how we can actually serve the people in general. So a Vaishnava, like, he goes and serves people according to the instruction of Krishna, because they are Krishna's children. How can I take care of Krishna's children without consulting Krishna? No, this Mayavadis, they fall into this philanthropic and altruistic activities, Samaj Seva, without consent of Krishna. That is degradation. No, that is degradation. So Samaj Seva is degradation, right? So they fall from their position of Brahman, in the Brahman thought process, or like speculation into the Brahman stage. They fall into the material pool, right? Okay. Therefore, the conclusion is that those who are engaged in Krishna conscious activities are better situated than the sannyasis engaged in simple speculation about what is Brahman and what is not Brahman, although they too come to Krishna consciousness after many births. No, Bahunam Janmanamante. Okay, text 7. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriya sarva bhutatma bhutana bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate. Okay, one who works in devotion, who is a pure soul and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. So here we see that similar kind of a sloka comes in Ishopanishad, wherein the first sloka of Isha Upanishad says that Ishavasham idam sarvam yat kincham jagatyam jagat thena taktena bunjita magradab kashyas viddanam. Means everything that exists is property of the Lord, either it be moving or non-moving. No, all the properties are God's properties. And then he has set aside as a quota for us something what is ours, and we should just use that. And in this kind of a mood, if a person works for millions of years, still he will not get any karmic reactions, right? So work means karma. Karma should produce some karmic reactions. But if I work in Krishna consciousness, even if I work for millions of years, I will not get any karma, right? So that's what is mentioned here. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul and who controls his mind and senses, is very dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. Right? Okay, purport. One who's on the path of liberation by Krishna consciousness is very dear to every living being, and every living being is dear to him. This is due to his Krishna consciousness. Such a person cannot think of any living being as separate from Krishna, just as the leaves and branches of a tree are not separate from the tree. He knows very well that that by pouring water onto the root of the tree, the water will be distributed to all the leaves and branches, or by supplying the food to the stomach, the energy is automatically distributed throughout the body. Because one who works in Krishna consciousness is servant to all, he is very dear to everyone. And because everyone is satisfied by his work, he is pure in consciousness. Because he is pure in consciousness, his mind is completely controlled. And because his mind is controlled, his senses are also controlled. Because his mind is always fixed on Krishna, there is no chance of his being deviated from Krishna, nor is there a chance that he will engage his senses in matters other than the service of the Lord. Okay, so let's see this thing. Prabhupada often cites this example of Yatva Taror Mula Nishechanina Tripyanti Yat Skanda Bhujopashaka Pranopaharat Yatendriyanam Tataiva Sarvarhanam Achyutejya. So we see that watering the root supplies the necessary nourishment for the entire tree. Supplying food to the stomach supplies energy to the whole body. So in the same way, by Krishna consciousness, by giving pleasure to Krishna, so automatically we will become satisfied. So we have in the morning japa sessions, sometimes we had discussed this particular pastime where in the Jugu temple in the early days, it was just on the shed, and in the shed they were worshipping the Lord, and then the pujari who was worshipping, so he would like the devotees who are taking care of the deities, so they would have another tin shed, and they would live in that tin shed. And in this tin shed, in the summer it will be very very hot, and it's so hot that it'll be pouring sweating, so this devotee, he was after finishing his afternoon arati and things like that, he comes to the shed, the devotee shed, and in that shed he's sitting down, in the hot summer, so much of heat is there. And then like he was thinking, what to do now. And he was seeing there is a small picture of the Lord that is kept in that shed, and he was thinking, no, I am feeling so much of heat. How much of heat the Lord will be feeling? So let me fan the Lord. No, he just gets an inspiration like this, and he just takes a fan. He starts fanning the Lord. No, in the this one in the ashram there in the shed, and the moment he starts fanning with the attitude of service towards the Lord, immediately he feels a lot of cool breeze is blowing on him. And then it's actually a hot summer under a tin sheet, but he feels that there is nice cool breezes that is flowing, and he's feeling really blissful. So this is an amazing example. If we, from the heart, if we actually render service to Krishna for Krishna's pleasure, so then definitely we will become satisfied, right? So this is what is the conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam also, right? That is ito bhakti radokshajya haituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati, right? Savai pum saparo dharma. So for the human beings, the topmost of all the religion is to render devotional service to Adokshaja, or the Supreme Lord Krishna. And how that devotional service should be: ahaituki, no expectation that I do this devotional service, I should get this thing in return, no expectation like that. And then apratihata, there is no stoppage in the process of devotional service. When it is done like that, what is the benefit? Yayatma suprasidati. Prasidati means we will become satisfied and happy. Suprasidati means we will become deeply satisfied, no, deeply happy. So that's what this devotee was experiencing. No, he didn't expected, okay, I'll fan the Lord and the Lord will do this thing for me and things like that. He felt that no, my Lord may be feeling the heat, so I should try to fan him. So he was thinking the pleasure of Krishna, and he was doing it, and he felt the reaction of it is like he felt that his body is completely cooled down, and in the summer, hot summer. So this is a very, very powerful example where if we focus on how to give pleasure to Krishna, then we will get deep levels of satisfaction within, right? So it's a nice thing. No, when I heard this, I felt very enlivened, and no, it gave a lot of inspiration. No, especially when we are chanting our rounds, if we can just meditate that this sound vibration which I am vibrating, no, may it offer some pleasure to Krishna. No, it's I'm just doing it for pleasure of Krishna, so may it offer some pleasure to Krishna. And you see the difference. No, not having any other desire, not thinking when will this round get over, not thinking that any other thing, not just thinking that I just simply want to offer pleasure to Krishna. And we will see the difference. We will really feel so much nourished. This is the point of nourishment. Nourishment means what? Now we take food. Here that example is given. If we take food, we will get nourished. We will feel the energy in the body. In the same way, when we do this ahaituki apratihata devotional service, just thinking that I just want to offer pleasure to Krishna. Every day we are offering boga to the Lord. Just rather than doing it ritualistically, if you can just prepare the nice boga and then keep it in front of the Lord, and while offering the boga, offering mantras, while chanting the boga, offering mantras, if you can meditate on the this one, that how Krishna is going to enjoy. I just did this only for his pleasure. No, he should just enjoy. No, if we just feel like this, if we just meditate like this and do our offering, it will become so much nourishing. No, we will really feel that nourishment. We have not yet had the prasadam. No, the boga is getting offered, but still we will feel that we are full. Will be like fully nourished, right? So that's a very powerful experience actually. So in every single aspect of devotional service, we can actually feel this thing. When we do it with focus and attention to the detail, and the most important detail is offering pleasure to Krishna. So when we try to do that, we'll really feel that bliss in Krishna consciousness, right? Okay. So here we see that because no a devotee, he is working in this kind of a mode for offering pleasure to Krishna. So when he is trying to offer pleasure to Krishna, already like his karmic reactions are getting cut and burnt. So no, in this way, if he works even for a long period of time, he is not going to get any reactions for it, and no, he will be blissful doing this work. Okay. Because his mind is always fixed on Krishna, there is no chance of his being deviated from Krishna, nor is there a chance that he will engage his senses in matters other than the service of the Lord. Because Lord is very attractive. Once attracted by the Lord, it's very difficult to get attracted to anything else. He does not like to hear anything except the topics relating to Krishna. He does not like to eat anything which is not offered to Krishna. He does not wish to go anywhere if Krishna is not involved. Therefore, his senses are controlled. A man of controlled senses cannot be offensive to anyone. One may ask, why then was Arjuna offensive in the battle to others? Wasn't he Krishna conscious? Arjuna was only superficially offensive because, as has already been explained in the second chapter, all assembled persons on the battlefield would continue to live individually as the soul cannot be slain. So, spiritually, no one was killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Only their dresses were changed by the order of Krishna, who was personally present. Therefore, Arjuna, while fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, was not really fighting at all. He was simply carrying out the orders of Krishna in full Krishna consciousness. Such a person is never entangled in the reactions of work. So here we see that Arjuna did not have any personal intention. Rather, his personal intention was something else. No, his personal intention was, let's call off the battle. No, let's not fight this battle. No, that was his personal intention. And no, when he presented it to Krishna, Krishna told, "You're a fool. No, I'm telling you to fight, and no, I want this fight to happen. So, like, just follow my order." And Arjuna told, "Okay, fine. No, I'll follow." And so this was not Arjuna's choice; it is Krishna's choice. And serving Krishna for his pleasure is the whole and sole purpose of Krishna consciousness. So this is not considered to be a killing at all. What Arjuna did is not considered to be killing at all. Just like we have also an example in the practical sense, that military soldier on the command of the superiors, or the command of the commander, or whoever it is, army general, he goes and fights on the border and he kills so many people, but his killing is not counted as killing. No, he is not put into the jail, but rather he gets medals, right? So for executing the order, which is exactly spoken by the commander. So that's very important. So here, Krishna, or bona fide representative of Krishna, so their instructions must be followed. And the main thing that we have to see in this world is we have so many self-concocted ideas which are generated in the factory of our mind. And no, they are in fact, they are from the false ego, and this false ego has to be smashed. So when this false ego is smashed to pieces, so then we will come to the point of accepting the order of Krishna. And when we accept the order of Krishna and serve for his pleasure, so then we will become really very happy, right? So false ego will only make us more and more sad. Okay, so such work is never entangling. Okay, text 8 and 9. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavet pashyan shrinvan sprishan jigran asnan gachan swapnan swasan uh, pralapan vishrajan grahnan unmishan nimishan api indriyan indriyarteshu vartanto iti dharayan. Okay. A person in divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. Right? So now we see that. If I think I am the doer, no, the material nature is doing everything. If I think I am the doer, then I have to get the reactions for it. And if I think that this material nature is doing and I don't have anything to give or take in this, so then I am relieved from the no miseries. So it's like if there is a fast moving vehicle is there and I'm walking in the street, right? So if I catch hold of the fast moving vehicle, so then I'll be dragged in the road. No, that's the reaction. But if I just let loose that fast moving vehicle, I'll not be disturbed by that, right? So the vehicle is there around, but I'll not be disturbed by that, right? So in the same way here, we see that the machinery of material nature is running so very fast. And if I put my hand inside and then say it's I am doing these things, then I'll get hurt, no, because of that. So the detachment, saying that okay, fine, this body is there, this body is doing something, and the what is that? This the system, whole system is functioning in its own way. I don't have anything to do with this, right? So then I can actually be a peaceful traveler in the vehicle. Just like when we use our own vehicles, no, how many of us dare to put our hands into the engine? It's no, it'll will hurt our hand, right? In the same way that we should not put our hands into the engine, and we should know how to drive this vehicle. This vehicle has been given to us, and this vehicle is for the purpose of progressing to the Krishna consciousness and ultimate perfection. And for that, we have got the eyes, we have got the ears, we have got the mouth, and there is a particular way in which all these senses have to be used for attaining our ultimate destination. So that we need to do. So, but simply if we see that okay, there is some oh, there is some nice mouth is there. So, and it seems like, no, it can eat something. So anything and everything, like, no, just take and put inside. So then it'll be miserable. And eyes are there, like, which is, I can see something. So I'll try to see everything which is there in this world, anything and everything. So that is also a problem, right? So we have to know that these are sense organs, and these are sense organs given to us, or this whole body in itself is a vehicle given to us, and this vehicle is meant to take us back to the spiritual world, and that has to be used in a particular way according to the user manual, that is Bhagavad Gita. If we go about using it as like as we like, then no, we will end up putting our hand into the engine, burn the hand, or we will end up putting our hand into the wheels, running wheels and things like that. So that will all create casualty, right? So that will all create problems. So that's what people of this world are trying to do. They've got this wonderful vehicle which can take them back to Godhead, but they don't know what to do with this vehicle. They just simply try to do so much of meddling around and things like that, right? So, okay, let's see the purport. A person in Krishna consciousness is pure in his existence, and consequently, he has nothing to do with any work which depends upon five immediate and remote causes. So, the immediate causes, the okay, so the remote causes, they are doer, the work, situation, endeavor, and the fortune. So that is adhishtanam, tata karta, um, like adhishtanam, tata karta, karanam cha pratak vidam, vividam stapatak cheshta, daivam chaivairta panjamam. So these five kinds of doers, so that are there. So one is the soul himself, and then the kind of work, and the adhishtanam, the situation that is there, and then cheshta, the endeavor, and then the fortune. Here Prabhupada puts it as fortune, but it is mentioned as daiva, or the ultimate sanction of the Lord, right? So these are all different factors of action that is mentioned in the 18th chapter. So no, these factors can be there, but then no, he is not taking so much of interest in whether the work is happening this way or that way. This will happen. The vehicle will get driven in some way in this world, but then we have to see how to drive it to the ultimate destination. And so the vehicle is going to go on. We only have a little bit of controlling facility, wherein we can just push it a little bit this side or that side, and then the vehicle will keep going. So most of you would have the experience of a video game where the accelerator is not in control, only the left and right is there in your control. So something of that sort. So most of the things of this body is not in our control. We don't have the control of how the body digests the food. We don't have the control of how the cells reproduce itself, and we don't have control of so many things in the body. We just have control that eyes are there, we can take the darshan of the Lord. Ears are there, we can hear about the Lord. And tongue is there, which can taste the prasadam of the Lord, or which can vibrate the holy names of the Lord. So we have a little bit of freedom, to push this vehicle a little bit this side or that side, and drive it close to the self-realization, right? Okay. This is because he is engaged in loving transcendental service of the Lord. He is just allowing this machine to go on an auto mode. Why? Because he's fully busy in the service of the Lord. He is not meddling around with the vehicle. Right? Although he appears to be acting with his body and senses, he is always conscious of his actual position, which is spiritual engagement. In material consciousness, the senses are engaged in sense gratification, but in Krishna consciousness, the senses are engaged in the satisfaction of Krishna's senses. Therefore, the Krishna conscious person is always free, even though he appears to be engaged in affairs of the senses. Activities such as seeing and hearing are the actions of the senses meant for receiving knowledge, whereas moving, speaking, evacuating, etc., are actions of the senses meant for work. So, Jnanendriya and Karmendriya. A Krishna conscious person is never affected by the actions of the senses. He cannot perform any act except in the service of the Lord, because he knows that he is the eternal servitor of the Lord. Right? So it's amazing, because he is engaged in Krishna conscious activities. So he's just mindful of that. So many other things are happening within this body, or in relation to this body, or in relation to the society. He just says, okay, fine, this will keep on going on. So how much I will meddle around with that? So I don't have anything to give or take, with that. So he takes care of his Krishna consciousness, and if anybody else is going to take care of his Krishna consciousness, he helps them out, right? So sometimes people say that this is looks like selfishness. You just simply want to do your Krishna consciousness, and people are suffering so much in this world. So why don't you feed them food? Why don't you do some good for them and things like that? So I just suddenly an nice analogy flashed in my head. So it's like imagine you are a teacher, and then there are some students are there, and those students have some problem. No, one student has stolen some like pencil of the other student or something like that, and they have some petty problems. And no, they are keep on coming to the teacher saying that no, this problem, this person did that, this person told like that, and that person told like this. The teacher will say like, see, you have any problem in the subject, I will solve it for you. No, you keep on speaking in this way, like, no, it is wasting my time, it is wasting your time. No, why don't you all like settle down and then study the subject, right? So that's something very nice, right? So and the teacher spends a lot of time with those people who are willing to study the subject. And these other notorious children, like they are not willing to study, and they are creating so many problems amongst themselves. So how much the teacher will keep on solving these problems? Should he go and say that, okay, fine, no, you should not do like this, you should not steal the pen, you should not do this, do that? For some time he can do, but how much he can do? He cannot do that forever. Then the whole purpose of his teaching will go for a toss, right? So in that way, like we see that this Krishna conscious people, so they try to progress in Krishna consciousness. And then if somebody is interested in Krishna consciousness, they are willing to spend time, educate them, and get them on board. They get them progress in Krishna consciousness. But these people, like people are suffering for want of food, want of shelter, and so many mental problems, this problem, that problem. Why did all this problem come? Because you are not willing to surrender to Krishna, and you're not willing to hear the instruction of Krishna. So we will come to help you, and we will request you, no, please listen to the words of Krishna. And if you don't listen to, then what will we do? We'll say, okay, fine, tata, bye bye. You keep suffering, and I cannot help you beyond this point. Even if I help you, no, you will not stop committing sin, you will not surrender to Krishna. So you will create same kind of misfortune in the future also. How much I will help you? No, just like this notorious children who will never know, he listened to the words of the teacher. So in the same way, like these people in the world, like they're suffering, so we can go and give prasadam once in a while, and then give them some good gyan. And if they listen to it, it's good. Otherwise, no, good luck. No, what we can do, we cannot break our head, but we have to break our head for those people who are willing to progress. Another example is given in this regard is is the thing is in a war field. There are so many people who are injured. There is the medical team which is there in the war field. They have an instruction. Pick up those people who have still some life, and there is some hope to save them, because we have less time, we are on the line of fire, and we have to do justice to the job that we are doing. So people who are showing a little better life symptoms, pick them up and come, we will treat them. No, other people who are in the verge of death, just leave them. No, we cannot do anything, right? So that's something. No, it's our case also. So we have very little lifetime. No, we have another 20, 30 years or whatever it is, or maybe like much lesser than that or more. We don't know. We have a limited time, and then we have to progress in Krishna consciousness. And in that time, anybody shows interest in Krishna consciousness, we will help them out. We will help them out in progressing. But then if somebody is adamant, no, we will not take up Krishna consciousness, and they are suffering in this world, like, no, we cannot do much, right? So that's something that we can see. A Krishna conscious person is never affected by the actions of the senses, and he cannot perform any act except in the service of the Lord, because he knows that he's eternal servitor of the Lord, right? So okay, so we have another book also to read, so we will just quickly read a little bit from there also. Okay, we will switch to that book now. Hmm. Okay, so we were here, become Guru. Hmm. Remarkably, Lord Chaitanya, okay, just to give the prelude of this book, what we were reading till now, is that the author, His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, a very amazing disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and now he's also a spiritual master, and he's guiding so many souls. He resides in the United States in ISKCON Silicon Valley, and he runs a temple there. And he is an amazing book distributor, who has taken this instruction of Srila Prabhupada to the heart. He's an inspiration to the whole world of how he has dedicated his 40, 40 odd years in the service of Srila Prabhupada. Right. So here we can see that. So he has got this one magazine of Srila Prabhupada. Just his friend just came and he just told that, no, this Hare Krishna people, they took my last penny and no, they gave this magazine to me and I don't like this. No, I know that it may be of some use to you. So then this friend of his comes and throws this magazine at his door and he just goes off. And Vaisheshika Prabhu picks up this magazine, he reads it, and then he feels like, no, completely amazing. All the questions that he had were answered in this magazine. And then he, tried to find the devotees, and then, he was trying to get into the association of devotees and things like that. So this is some kind of a little bit of prelude for this reading what we are doing. So let's continue this. Become Guru. Remarkably, Lord Chaitanya offers any willing person this topmost service. Become a Guru by carrying Krishna's message, and in this way, deliver everyone you meet. Jare deka thare kaha Krishna upadesh, amar ajna guru hai tara desh. Within this simple order lies the seed of perfection. In his purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 2.9.34, Srila Prabhupada explains the power of Supreme Personality of Godhead's direct orders. The direct order of the Lord is a manifestation of his internal energy, and this particular energy is the means of seeing the Lord face to face. So we are so fortunate to have this direct order of the Lord, right? So whomever we see, Jare Deka, Thare Kaha, Krishna Upadesh. So whomever we see, we just tell the Krishna's instructions. If you don't know the instructions of Krishna very thoroughly, then we can say, okay, you take Bhagavad Gita, no, it is full of Krishna's instructions, please read this book, right? So in this way, Krishna Upadesh Amar Ajnaya, so no, Lord Chaitanya is telling, by my order, no, Guru Haya, no, just become a spiritual master and Tara Desh, liberate this world. So, and here, no, Aishashika Prabhu is quoting from Srila Prabhupada's purport, no, to Bhagavatam 2.9.34, and he's saying, the direct order of the Lord is the manifestation of internal energy, right? So now we are distributing these books. This is not, what is that, any other activity. This is direct order of the Lord, right? So please distribute this, Krishna Upadesh. So that's what we are trying to do when we are trying to distribute the books. And this is a manifestation of internal energy of the Lord. And just by following this order, we are preparing ourselves to see the Lord face to face. That's the benefit. Okay. Even a simple person who embraces the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and carries it out despite all obstacles rises to the highest position of bhakti by divine grace. Narad Muni, for example, was elevated from an obscure birth to the topmost authority in pure devotional service by following the instructions of advanced devotees. By the same principle, he was able in turn to elevate Mrigari, the hunter, to the status of a pure Vaishnava. Narada told Mrigari, if you listen to my instructions, I shall find the way you can be liberated. Mrigari had been raised by his father not only to hunt but also to enjoy torturing animals. But after accepting Narada's instructions, Mrigari became famous as a soft hearted Vaishnava who refused to harm even an ant. Srila Prabhupada points out the urgent need for ambassadors to carry Lord Chaitanya's message of spiritual service to the people of the world who are desperate for relief from material misery. So this is cited from Prabhupada's purports. Human society at present moment is not in the darkness of oblivion. It has made rapid progress in the field of material comforts, education, and economic development throughout the entire world. But there is a pinprick somewhere in the social body at large, and therefore there are large scale quarrels even over less important issues. There is need of a clue as to how humanity can become one in peace, friendship, and prosperity with a common cause. Srimad Bhagavatam will fill this need, for it is a cultural presentation for the re-spiritualization of the entire human society. Right. So this comes in the introduction or preface to the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this passage, Srila Prabhupada writes, it's a very, very amazing passage, where he says that no, human civilization is not in the darkness of oblivion. That means we are not in the Stone Age. We have made sufficient progress in so many different departments like material comforts, education, and economic development and things like that. But then there is something wrong somewhere. There is some pinprick somewhere. No, what is that? No, because of that, there is so much of quarrels and so much of dissensions and things like that. So we need to find a way to solve these problems. And how to find the way to solve this problem? Prabhupada is telling that Srimad Bhagavatam is the solution for all these problems, because it can re-spiritualize the entire human society. Okay, government leaders are anxious about raising levels of unemployment, and people everywhere are eager for dignity that comes from the honest livelihood. But Lord Chaitanya is offering full employment in the most exalted livelihood of all. Why should anyone be worried? What is that employment? Distribute this Krishna conscious movement all over the world. Let people eat these fruits and ultimately become free from old age and death. Right? So anybody is telling, no, I don't have employment, so we have sufficient employment. No, we can distribute the books of Srila Prabhupada. Okay. Service inherited. A devotee who has embraced the Sankirtan service of distributing Srila Prabhupada's books and has realized its value wants to share that good fortune of expanding Lord Chaitanya's mission to as many people as possible. Lord Chaitanya himself says, I'm the only gardener. How many places can I go? How many fruits can I pick up and distribute? Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 3:21-31, one's energy should be utilized for one's self-interest. That is the perfection of energy. This energy can be utilized for real self-interest if one is compassionate. A person in Krishna consciousness, a devotee of the Lord, is always compassionate. He is not satisfied that only he himself is devotee, but he tries to distribute the knowledge of devotional service to everyone. There are many devotees of the Lord who faced many risks in distributing the devotional service of the Lord to people in general. That should be done. Right? So by serving devotees fervently and engaged in spreading Sankirtan movement, one catches the spillover from their service. A single drop of which gives one the invaluable gift of a place in Mahaprabhu's transcendental family of devotees who assist him in spreading the Sankirtan movement. Srila Prabhupada writes about this in his purport, Srimad Bhagavatam 3:22-5. Thus, it is actually a fact that if one meets a saintly person completely engaged in transcendental duties and achieves his favor, then one's life mission become complete. What is not possible to achieve in thousands of lives can be achieved in one moment if there is an opportunity to meet a saintly person. Okay, to his own spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada writes, this is a small poem kind of a thing which Srila Prabhupada wrote and sent it to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So let's read that. Message of service thou has brought, a meaningful life as Chaitanya brought. Unknown to all, it is full of grace. That's your gift, your divine grace. No? My first linking about the life of divine service came via the mercy of devotees whose identity remains unknown to me. The devotee who sold a copy of Back to Godhead magazine to Richie, my unsuspecting high school friend on Telegraph Avenue in Berkeley, California. Richie was wholly interested in what is it? Wholly means like not interested, wholly uninterested. Sorry, no, were wholly uninterested in Krishna consciousness, but he had dutifully brought me the magazine because he knew I was an avid spiritual seeker. The very second I held the magazine in my hands, I knew that my prayers for spiritual guidance has been answered. With one pointed attention, I studied the magazine practically, inhaling the words and pictures. Its content seemed familiar to me, like meeting a best friend after a long separation. Narad Muni explained the significance of such an event. My dear friend, even though you cannot immediately recognize me, can't you remember that in the past you had a very intimate friend? Unfortunately, you gave up my company and accepted a position as enjoyer of this material world, right? So here we see that, all of us have a background, a history in Krishna consciousness. No, it's not that in this life we are starting. No, all of us have a history in Krishna consciousness, and we are continuing from somewhere. Where all of us, we are actually, progressing. From in so many lifetimes we are just picked it up and dropped it, picked it up and dropped it, and now we are here. No, it's not something new. Coming to the point of chanting the names of the Lord, hearing the message of Krishna consciousness, it is not ordinary. No, it's not at all ordinary. So when we are trying to do this, no, we have already done a lot before, no, and we have come to this point, and we should not waste the time further. Okay, after reading the publication dozens of times, I fixed my plan to move in with the devotees at 455 Valencia Street as soon as possible. That's where the devotees were living. And, this Prabhuji was like, he just simply wanted to go and join them. By the kind-heartedness of my parents, I succeeded. As a baby elephant lost in the jungle attaches itself to its mother, I grabbed on tightly to the devotees at San Francisco Temple. Kindred souls, they understood my cheerfulness on finding a life of devotional service. On my second day in the temple, my revered temple commander, Kritakarma Das, entrusted me with a most enjoyable service, washing the Lord's pots. He taught me how to make every single inch of a pot so shiny that I could see my reflection in it. He told me that the cleaner I made the pot, the cleaner my heart would become. I scrubbed very hard. He was put in the pot washing service. My pot washing service ended abruptly one day, 3 months later, when Kritakarma pulled me aside for a talk. Listen, Bhakta William. No, his name was William. So now he is called as Vaisheshika Prabhu. So he said, pot washing is great, but how would you like to try a service that is especially pleasing to Srila Prabhupada, a service that will put you in closer touch with him? I said I was interested. In anticipation of his suggestion, I felt as if I were about to hear the amount of payout after winning a state lottery. Delighted by my response, Kritakarma said, Srila Prabhupada has asked that we distribute his books. If you go out and try, not only will you quickly attract his attention, you will also be following in his footsteps and those of the previous teachers in our line. You can start tomorrow. So without asking for detail, I agreed, and I spent the rest of the day and night wondering what book distribution would be like. Okay, so we will stop here. It's an amazing this one. So in the tomorrow's session, we will see like how Vaisheshika Prabhu goes out for first day of his book distribution, right? So it's very nice, this one. Okay, so we will stop here. Srila Prabhupada Book Marathon ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.